I didn't know what was going on. The last thing I remember was being in a wheelchair, being admitted to the hospital, and I remember telling somebody, and I don't know who it was, please don't let me die. So I retired from the police department in my hometown of Boise, Idaho in 2009. I spent 2 tours in Iraq and 3 tours in Afghanistan. And in December of 2013, I was offered a consulting job. Our assignment was to go to each Army base around the United States and Europe and teach them this special way to go to foreign countries that we're at war with. So I had been doing that for about 6 months. We normally flew in on the weekends and got prepared for our classes. And when I arrived, I felt fine. I went to dinner, came back to my hotel room and laid down to go to sleep, and then about midway through the night, I had this horrible pain in my chest that radiated to my back. I was violently vomiting, and I had no clue what would have brought this on or caused it. I knocked on one of my team members' doors that was next to me, and I told him, I said, I'm really sick. I had just called 911. The ambulance and the police showed up, and that's about what I remember.
My name is Stephanie Blaire. I'm a pulmonary critical care doctor here at Rapides Regional Medical Center. Mike Babbitt, he doesn't remember meeting me. He came in the middle of the night with abdominal pain. He had an acute flare of his chronic pancreatitis. One thing that can happen with chronic pancreatitis is you can get ARDS, or acute respiratory distress syndrome. And Michael developed that, got transferred to our intensive care unit here. He was a very sick man. His disease progressed to the point that we had to intubate him and put him on a mechanical ventilator to breathe for him. It required very high levels of support, pressure, oxygen, high PEEP levels, and he just wasn't getting better. Over the course of the next 10 days or so, he was progressively getting worse, failing everything that we had. We had tried even prone ventilating him. We turned him upside down, laying on his stomach to try to ventilate him, and nothing was working.
I was driving home with my coworker, and I got a call from my uncle, and he just said, hey, this isn't going well. You know, he said, it's time to come out here. And I just remember like being in shock. That night, I mean, we just all knew, okay, this is it. Like, so it was just kind of, it was a really, like I just knew this is the last night my dad's gonna be here. So this is the last night that I'm gonna have a dad who's alive. We got there, and then I walked in and I just panicked because I said, oh my gosh, we're doing this right now. Like we're, you know, this like in how he's gonna be gone in 20 minutes. That's the first time I met Dr. Blaire, and I remember her saying, hi, like I'm Dr. Blaire, and I'm like, why is this woman so happy? And I was like, thinking, you know, he's dying right now. She said, I know that your family and Dr. Cantwell had decided to go a certain route, and she said, I think it's too soon to go that route.
Most everybody felt it was time to stop. And I don't know, through my training, when you've just got one organ system that doesn't work and everything else is working, and you've got a supportive family and everybody else is on board, you keep going, and we did. From my fellowship training in pulmonary in Indianapolis, we had occasionally used oscillators for a salvage mode of ventilation when nothing else can work. So we called the company, they sent an oscillator here, and I don't know, at this point, what have we got to lose?
Okay, bye-bye. Go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Blaire.
Yeah. The nice thing about when you do get these ventilators is they send the reps with them, because we just don't use them that often.
The oscillator is one of a kind. It's the only product in the country that really can do what it does. In my opinion, the only chance this patient had at getting his pulmonary condition stable was with the oscillator. That's why I felt that our product would be able to help Mr. Babbitt. Collectively, we looked at the information and we made a decision. And the decision was, we're going to put this guy on the oscillator. Initially, his condition didn't really improve
He got worse initially when we put him on the oscillator, as a lot of people do.
I had him on near maximal settings because his lungs were so stiff. 24, 36 hours later, we were cutting those settings down aggressively, and the patient was maintaining the stable condition.
We were able to get him to conventional ventilation again and send him back home to Boise, Idaho, where he started his long rehab.
What he went through in Alexandria and how sick he was to eventually be discharged, go through rehab, get back to where he's, has a good quality of life. And now he's walking his daughter down the aisle. Like he could have never experienced that.
He got to walk me down the aisle, which was amazing. And it was, I remember thinking, selfishly, who's gonna walk me down the aisle, when we were going through all of that. But it was just amazing, he was there.
They very well could have said, listen, he's just not gonna make it. But especially Dr. Blaire, who is our family's hero. And I talk to her all the time. I thank her all the time. She's my angel, and she's just a great person. And our family loves her very much.
The technology, there's nothing like it. And I firmly believe in what it can do. If the oscillator was not provided for Mr. Babbitt, I don't think he would have walked his daughter down the aisle. I don't think he would have been able to hold his first grandchild. The oscillator was vital in Mr. Babbitt's recovery to now experiencing all these major milestones in life. And it's because of our product, of the 3100.
As you're doing your jobs and you're out selling and promoting your product, remember somebody out there is going to need it, and somebody is going to make memories with their kids and their grandkids and their daughters and sons, and it's not just a piece of equipment. To me, it was a life-saving device, and I'm glad that Chris was able to bring it down to Louisiana and help save my life.